So we're fourth year interior design studio, and we got assigned one property in New Orleans. So we have to design the whole property, including the interior design, architecture, and the landscape. And we are doing the final stage, which is assign the clients, specific clients, and design for the clients, including the New Orleans design aspect.
And it started with my introduction to Korea, and then he worked at trying to get to know me and get a sense of what I liked when it came to designing an apartment for me.
This project has been going on maybe even 5 years, certainly 4 years. And my colleague was the person who was leading it. And when she passed away, I felt it was really important to keep the project going because I felt it was valuable, very valuable for the students and valuable for those of us living here at Las Ventanas too. So I agreed to work with DAC to make sure that we were able to schedule things and get things organized and carry it forward. And I'm glad we have, because it's been a meaningful experience for the people here, I believe.
Two things. I think it's good for them to come in contact with some of the older crowd, as we are. But it's also very good for us. I find it interacting with younger people beneficial for me because, that frankly is an aspect that's kind of limited to us.
We live in a community where we have 4 levels, the only ones in Nevada. The independent, the assisted living, skilled nursing, and memory care. And I have a delightful interior decorator, Chelsea, who has been working on an apartment that I would love to move into because it has absolutely everything that I told her I wanted. But it's a program that for UNLV students, and I was delighted to take part.
The students that I have worked with have been very perceptive about what I like and what I don't like. And all of their designs, and especially this year, reflect the fact that I'm a minimalist, I like light, and so I haven't been burdened with things that they know I would not live with.
Thank you. I try.
And how was your experience, either similar or different this year?
The experience seems to be about the same. They're very dedicated, they're interested, they want to know what you can and cannot do. It's easy to point out to them that there's no need to do high cabinets because they discourage us from climbing up on a ladder. And I only saw one design this year that neglected that point.
It's always difficult to design the perfect one for the clients, but since we were able to discuss with him a couple of times in the semester, and he just told me he really liked what I did for him. So I think I reached the goal, but I think I can do something better. So I'm trying to figure out something nicer or alternative solutions for him.
I think this is a rather interesting experience. Throughout all of UNLV Studio, we don't really get an opportunity to interact with real people and see what they think of your design and what they actually want. Everything was always self-driven. So I think this really gives us a taste of the real world. And I definitely wouldn't trade this experience for anything else.
We have just been viewing the final stages, and I am so impressed with all of the work that they've done and the beautiful spaces, and my particular drawing showed the different things like the cove lighting that we talked about, and the open spaces and all of the things that we just discussed have been incorporated into the room, and very, very acceptable and very nice. And I've enjoyed working with my student, and we had a really good time.
The ideation that I designed was actually something we co-worked together to create. The silk embossery of the Chinese artworks were things I saw in her room that we wanted to incorporate into the new design. That's something she wanted to bring along. And just the minimalist simplicity of everything, the color palette, I think everything had to do with Joanne.
And we had an interesting discussion because of the poll that appeared in our apartment.
Yeah.
And we talked a long time about what to do with that, and finally came up with the idea of a bulletin board. That seemed the most practical thing. Yeah.
At first it was going to be a horse.
Oh yeah, we were going to make a horse out of it, and then we jumped that.
Yeah.
So it was great getting to know her and some of her things that she would love to see implemented in her new home. So some of those things included access to nature and views of nature. She loves flowers, violets in particular, so we wanted to incorporate ways to keep her plants healthy as well. And she had favorite furniture pieces that we wanted to make sure were incorporated. And thankfully she's healthy and doesn't have the need for grab bars and things like that quite yet. So we wanted to ensure that she keeps healthy and it doesn't rely on those things. So we were sure to incorporate only what was needed for this point in her life.
I think the fact that since the population is aging, that they need to be aware of the needs. I mean, I think it's very romantic to design for somebody in Hollywood, but probably their careers will not revolve around that element so much as an aging population, and they're learning some practical things.
Well, for me also, both Marcia and I have been professors at the university, so this brings us back to those years when we had daily interaction with students, and
That's true.
It's always been fun. All my life I've interacted with university students, so this is going back to the past, enjoying those days.
That's a good point.
We kind of talk about the style that Dr. Ricardo wants, so we did Scandinavian. Basically, other stuff that I think he knows what he wants.
Well, I asked for fairly open space, flexible space,
right.
And one that reminded me of nature, if not looked towards nature.
As well as the hobbies.
And he really delivered that.
Incorporated that.
And so it was fun to have to think about what is it exactly that I value, because just intuitively we found those things, but to think about those things and express them was new for us. And I think we did a pretty good job. We communicated well, I think.